Hello and welcome to the closing ceremony of the 29th SEA Games. Malaysia has played host to 10 other nations from around the region as they competed in 36 sports from athletics to archery, squash to swimming, and we're coming to you live from the Bukit Jalil Stadium, where the National Stadium has been packed to the rafters. I don't know if you can hear it, but there are throngs of people inside. Hello, good evening. My name's Kelly Latimer. Joining me is John Macbeth. John, how are you doing this evening?
I'm absolutely delighted to be here, Kelly, and you're right, you can hear that noise, and this stadium, along with all the other venues that have been involved with the SEA Games 2017, have rocked throughout. The participation has been fantastic, but the audience involvement has been great. And we get to a stage where now, after almost 2 weeks of non-stop sports action, sadly almost, the time has come to say farewell to a hugely successful and very popular SEA Games here in Kuala Lumpur. I don't think there'll be any argument about that. They really have been successful and popular throughout.
That is absolutely correct. 1,334 medals have been awarded, but not just the medals, because we've also had little saplings that have been given away to each and every single one of the medalists as well. I think that's a really nice initiative.
It's really impressed me as we go inside the stadium now, and you can see that this place is absolutely packed. But the saplings idea was great, and there was some concern when they thought, how are they going to get the saplings out of the country for the outside Malaysian athletes? But they're being planted here, and it will be a great memento for many years to come of what happened here in 2017, but also it's great for the environment.
That's right. It was introduced as a way to offset the carbon emissions produced by the Games. And I think it's great that there are initiatives such as this to really make sure that the Games aren't impeding anything in terms of society as well. Anyway,
yes,
you can see how many people are joining us here this evening.
And they've all got their phones up taking selfies, or they're holding lights. The athletes will enjoy this part of it. The Games, the opening ceremony is always quite formal, and on the athletes is the tension and the expectation that's on their shoulders, and their training. Have they done enough? What's their competition going to be like? A lot of tension in the air in the opening ceremony, but there's none of that now. It's just an opportunity for them to have some fun. So tonight you will see the athletes, the volunteers, and you'll also see the formal part of all closing ceremonies where the flame is extinguished. Remember at the opening ceremony, the great moment when the flame came in. So the flame is extinguished, the flags are lowered slowly to wonderful music, and then there's the handover from Malaysia to the country which has the responsibility over the next 2 years of producing the next SEA Games, the Philippines. So that's the formal part of it, but in the meantime we'll have a lot of fun, a lot of reminiscing about the Games too, Kelly.
Oh, that's for sure. I mean, we've had a great couple of weeks here in Kuala Lumpur. We've seen lots of records broken. We've seen the flags flying high, the anthems being sung, and if you listen to the National Stadium at the moment, you can hear the crowd singing, and that is a beautiful sight and sound.
So they sound as you hear now. That's perfect, because we've had this throughout.
So, as we are inside the National Stadium at the moment, it is, like we said, a great spectacle as we wait for the ceremony to start. Now, of course, Malaysia have had a fantastic edition of the Games here. I mean, they're walking away with a huge medal haul, 145 gold medals in total, and that is what these guys are cheering about.
Yep, here it is. So the changes of colour, the National Stadium, Bukit Jalil of Malaysia, where so much has happened. And now we're getting ready for the official start to the closing ceremony of these 29th Southeast Asian Games.
You just mentioned that there was a lot of action here. That is absolutely right. Athletics was actually held in this venue at the National Stadium in Bukit Jalil, and we have had some incredible outings, but it was Vietnam who walked away with 19 gold medals from the athletics. Singapore managing to get 2, one of them courtesy of Michelle Sung, our high jumper, and she did a great job. It was a last minute awarded gold after an appeal, but tonight all those gold medals are forgotten. Right
Yes.
now we're here to celebrate with music, with dance, with the band.
Ladies and gentlemen, the athletes of the 29th Southeast Asian Games. The parade is being led by the SEA Games champion, Malaysia. Joining them is the official mascot, Rimau.
Rimau, that mascot, we saw him at every single venue. Quite hard to miss the tiger, the Malayan tiger.
Everywhere. As a mascot to the medalists, of course, Rimau, respect, integrity, move, attitude and unity. And we've seen, and we'll talk about unity I think later on, Kelly, but we've seen a lot of that as we see now this Malaysian team, the team which has been the host nation. Malaysia, there was a lot of talk about the number of gold medals they wanted to win. 111 was the magic number, and the leader of the nation, the Prime Minister, Najib Razak, has been right there, right from the start, everywhere. He's been to all the venues. He really has been a big part of the Malaysian role in this Games. But a huge contingent from Malaysia, and they were very, very successful.
I mean, you can see it on their faces. They are so happy with the output that they've produced here on their own term. You know, and when you're at home, you really want to do well for the crowds, for the people. You see there the Sports Minister, Mr. Khairi Jamaluddin, as well as the Prime Minister and his wife, and all of them so elated with the result that Malaysia have managed to pull off. 145 gold medals is no mean feat. 323 medals in total.
Quite extraordinary. And a lot of the athletes have had the one finger up. They've been saying, we're number one, we are first. And you can understand that national pride for Malaysia. But I sometimes think that the emphasis on the number of medals is overplayed, and we have had some enormous competition out here and athletes who haven't managed to get the gold medals or medals, and they have played just as big a part in these SEA Games as everyone else. Congratulations to all the athletes. This is Malaysia.
There you see the Singapore contingent. You see the divers right at the front there, the two twins, Timothy and Mark. Then the Vietnamese come out. We mentioned earlier they had a lot of success here in the national stadium itself in athletics. 19 gold medals.
That's the same number too as Singapore had in the swimming pool. It was a great haul for them.
Aquatics providing 40% of Singapore's medal haul. Myanmar with 7 gold medals out of this edition of the Games. They'll be happy with that result, I think.
I think so, and there are some of the nations, of course, in any competition, some that struggle to make it to the medal table, but you cannot decry their effort. It has been absolutely remarkable. It has been, as we promoting unity among Southeast Asian nations, and that's what this Let's Rise Together logo was all about, and they've done that. It's been spectacularly successful from all areas, I think.
Bangkit Bersama really does exemplify what Malaysia has tried to do with this edition of the Games. Bangkit Bersama rising together, coming together as one united ASEAN, all these Southeast Asian nations, spearheaded by Malaysia, But then you see the Filipino contingent, the Bruneian contingent just behind them, the Vietnamese contingent, all of them so happy to have been a part of the games, not because they were here to win the medals. Yes, that was one thing that they wanted, but the other thing they wanted was to come together, you know, to come together and really showcase that all our differences aside, we can work together to pull off a successful edition of the games.
Yes, and there, a special cheer, I think, for Rimau, the mascot, everywhere he has been. We're not sure. Sometimes there's all sorts of people underneath that costume there, but
yeah,
male tiger.
We saw in the opening ceremony, I think there were about 20 of them who were dancing around.
In what way you would have noticed as you've been watching this wonderful coverage from Kuala Lumpur is that during the games, the athletes, some of them hardly recognize their opponent at the end of a match. There's such tension and sometimes stress involved. But here, in this atmosphere, they do get the chance to mix, to be friendly with their opponents, to talk through what has happened and what might come ahead in the future. So this is one of the wonderful things about a closing ceremony, a chance for the athletes to relax and mix.
The Thai athletes, Thailand with 72 gold medals. And of course, this man right here has really been championing this entire SEA Games effort. The Prime Minister of Malaysia.
It's Thailand with that 72 medals, second on the table behind Malaysia's approaching 150. Gosh, they picked up more today on the final day of competition. Indonesia, Philippines, Myanmar, Cambodia, Laos, Timor-Leste, Brunei. And as you cast your eyes up into the audience there, look how colourful that is as well. And the audience throughout these games has been quite special.
Timor-Leste had a small contingent. I believe it was only 36 athletes that they fielded in total, but they definitely gave it their all. And that's the beauty of sports, isn't it? You know, it doesn't matter whether you actually do walk away the winner, as long as you give it your best. That's when you know that you've made it.
Well, what we're seeing here again is sport providing the impetus for nations, 11 nations here to get together. Brings heads of nations together because they come and visit and they talk. It brings athletes, they become aware of what is happening in other countries. In the audience, you notice people from the different nations sitting together and chatting, even though they might be supporting opposite teams or players. It is a bringing together, and it's wonderfully positive in not just sport.
So they're bringing up the rear there, Timor-Leste. I really like Rimau in that small plush mascot version. It's the ones that all the medalists walked away with. I want one of those. They look super nice.
Got a glimpse of some of the athletes wearing their medals too, and I must say those medals were beautifully designed. I thought absolutely fantastic by Royal Selangor. Also with the torch and the baton that they designed and produced. I think they're special, those medals.
The Thai fans and supporters all mixed in with the Malaysian fans and supporters. You see, that's what's nice, you know, they're not segregated, they're all jumping in there together. And that kind of atmosphere, I mean, you can't replicate that, can you?
So I must bring out my New Zealand influence there. I see an All Blacks shirt on that gentleman.
We're celebrating all sports.
Please welcome the volunteers of the 29th Southeast Asian Games. Their selfless dedication and efforts throughout Kuala Lumpur 2017 define and proudly represent the Malaysian spirit of rising together. On behalf of all Malaysians, thank you for making this year's games one we will never forget.
I think that says it all.
Yes,
Oh.
absolutely. We have thousands and thousands of volunteers that have taken time out of their busy schedules to be a part of the games. This is the wow factor that Malaysia has been harping on and on about. Because without these guys, there would be no wow. As you can see, he showed up the little heart sign and he says, "I love you, Malaysia."
The wow factor. Volunteers, 15,000 or so, and of all ages. 20,000, there we are. They have volunteered, and we saw them in those shirts all the time, and I must say that never was anyone other than very friendly and helpful. They just set a wonderful example of friendliness in Malaysia, in Kuala Lumpur in particular. But the volunteers came from all over the place, so they helped, smiling, doing their jobs very well and having a good time at the same time.
As with so many sporting events around the world, the Southeast Asian Games is no different. Without the volunteers, there would be no games. These guys have sacrificed their time to serve you at the venues, to assist the athletes, to clean up after everyone, and to make sure everything runs smoothly. And this is the time that we take to say thank you.
And now, let's be enchanted by Terima Kasih Daun Keladi, an inspiring fusion of communal singing and dancing, giving thanks for nature's bounty.
so Malaysia pays tribute to nature.
Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome President of the Southeast Asian Games Federation and Olympic Council of Malaysia, Yang Amat Mulia, Tunku Tan Sri Imran Tuanku Jaafar.
Def-def kehormat, tuan-tuan dan puan-puan, majlis dengan segala hormatnya menjemput Presiden Persekutuan Sukan Asia Tenggara dan Majlis Olimpik Malaysia Yang Amat Mulia Tengku Tan Sri Imran Tuanku Jaafar.
Now move into the formal part of this closing ceremony.
Honourable Prime Minister, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, it seems a very short time since I stood here in this truly magnificent stadium to welcome you to the 29th SEA Games. As the President of the Federation, I'm here this time to bid you farewell. The honour of closing the Games will appropriately go to the Honourable Prime Minister of Malaysia, Yang Amat Berhormat Datuk Sri Najib Tun Razak. Thank you, Prime Minister, for the invaluable support and assistance that you and your government have given to us. You have the gratitude and appreciation of all those involved in these games. We have witnessed many brilliant performances from the best athletes from the 11 countries of Southeast Asia in 404 fabulous events in 38 different sports. For all of us who appreciate and love sports, you, our dear athletes, are all winners, whether you won medals or not. We know that you have given your best efforts for your country. Please go back home with your heads held high and with pride. Also, well done, Team Malaysia. On winning an incredible 323 medals, including a sensational 145 gold medals. Malaysia boleh. Kita juara. Acknowledgement should also be accorded to all the national sports associations and their officials, including team managers and coaches, as well as all the technical officials who helped create and present a great platform on which the athletes could show their true prowess. Well done, all of you. For the organizing committee, MASOC, please accept the gratitude of the SEA Games family. You have collectively produced a Games to remember. Nothing is perfect in this world, but you managed to overcome some of the problems along the way to produce a final result to be proud of. The broadcasting and television production has been world-class by any standard. The International Olympic Committee, the IOC, which is the pinnacle of world sports, has recognized your efforts, and my colleague from the IOC, Mr. Ng Ser Miang from Singapore, will be presenting to the MASOC Chairman, Brigadier General Khairi Jamaluddin, a special trophy from the IOC. By the way, Minister, congratulations on your gold medal in polo. Additionally, let us not forget the spectators and the fans who have contributed so much to the fun and enjoyment of these games. They include the colorful and raucous cheerleaders from the various countries. And of course, last but certainly not least, the volunteers. They were unmistakable in their orange and black uniforms. They were everywhere. They were friendly, polite, and helpful. Well done, you volunteers. And all Malaysians are proud of you. Ladies and gentlemen, the next host for the SEA Games in 2019 will be the Philippines. We wish the Philippines Olympic Committee and the government and people of the Philippines our very best wishes for a successful 30th SEA Games. Finally, I would like, as President of the SEA Games Federation, put on record that Kuala Lumpur 2017 has been a truly magnificent, memorable, and majestic SEA Games. Syabas Malaysia!
We now invite Mr. Khairi Jamaluddin and Mr. Eng Serniang to join Yang Amat Mulia Tunku Tan Sri Imran on stage.
Majlis dengan segala hormatnya mempersilakan Encik Khairi Jamaluddin dan Encik Eng Serniang untuk ke pentas bersama dengan Yang Amat Mulia Tunku Tan Sri Imran.
Dr. Thomas Bach, President of the International Olympic Committee, Mr. Eng Serniang, IOC Executive Board Member, and Prince Tunku Imran, IOC Member in Malaysia, will present the IOC trophy to Mr. Khairi Jamaluddin, Chairman of the 29th SEA Games Organizing Committee. The International Olympic Committee is honoring Mr. Khairi Jamaluddin, Chairman of the 29th SEA Games Organizing Committee, for a successful 29th SEA Games in Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. The Kuala Lumpur SEA Games Organizing Committee has successfully engaged the people of Malaysia to come together with more than 13,000 volunteers to create a successful and exciting games for the 7,090 athletes and officials from 11 countries in Southeast Asia. Athletes participated in 38 sports and 404 events. The Kuala Lumpur SEA Games has provided an opportunity for the region's best athletes to unite and rise together for the betterment of sport and the progress of the region. The Games propagated the Olympic spirit and inculcated in the youth of Southeast Asia the Olympic values of friendship, excellence, and respect. This award symbolizes IOC's appreciation to the government and the people of Malaysia for hosting a memorable 29th SEA Games for the 650 million people in Southeast Asia.
Friendship,
Ladies and
excellence,
gentlemen,
and respect
to
is something
declare the
that we've
games
definitely
closed,
seen.
the Prime Minister of Malaysia, Yang Amat Berhormat Datuk Seri Muhammad Najib Tun Abdul Razak.
Tuan-tuan dan puan-puan, majlis seterusnya menjemput Perdana Menteri Malaysia Yang Amat Berhormat Datuk Seri Muhammad Najib Tun Abdul Razak untuk mengisytiharkan Sukan SEA ke-29 Kuala Lumpur 2017 ditutup dengan rasminya.
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. I declare the 29th Southeast Asian Games Kuala Lumpur 2017 closed. And I call upon the youth of the Southeast Asian countries to assemble 2 years from now at the Philippines to celebrate the 30th Southeast Asian Games. May they display cheerfulness and concord so that the sports torch may be carried on with even greater eagerness, courage and honor for the good of humanity throughout the ages.
Ladies and gentlemen, it is now time to turn our attention towards the cauldron. The SEA Games cauldron represents the
One of the
inclusive
most
spirit of
touching moments
sports,
of
how it
closing
strengthens us
ceremonies
as a
at
region
any
and
games.
lifts us to rise together.
Tuan-tuan dan puan-puan,
Turning our attention to the
kini tiba
cauldron, a
masanya
magnificent
untuk kita
flame that has
memberikan
burned
perhatian kepada
throughout the
obor
duration of the
tamasha.
SEA Games.
Obor Sukan SEA ini melambangkan semangat kesukanan.
It will be extinguished
bagaimana ia
here,
memperkukuhkan
but it
hubungan
will be
sejagat
relit
antara
when we
kita,
can say
mendukung
mabuhay
kita
to the
untuk
Philippines.
bangkit bersama.
Standing tall, pride with purpose.
With tears of joy, feeling alive.
It's time to pass this burning torch.
And we'll meet again to remind ourselves.
Together we rise. When our hearts divide into the starry skies, we will unite. Friends, old and new, coming together. To unite and fight
For a greater cause.
It's time to say goodbye, and we'll sing again to remind ourselves. Together we Together we
Back in the days, she was the youngest. She's the most spoiled one.
Mesti saya pun kasih tahu dia pun, mesti you apa mau buat, mesti itu mau ingat betul-betul mau buat. Boleh jadi satu hari juara lah, saya pun cakap.
Maybe because she's the younger sister, she's a bit like much more like manja a bit.
Mula-mula susah juga nak percaya sebab dia ni macam bukan dia sangat kelakar.
Pada ketika itu baru berusia 3 tahun. Dia berlari keliling padang tu 400 meter seorang-seorang. Lepas tu pada ketika yang sama tu dia whole grandstand tu semua gelak kan. Asrin, anak kau ke? Anak kau. Boleh jadi atlet dia tu besok.
My parents and my siblings, they support me throughout my career. Like me and my sister, anywhere I go, she'll be there.
Ini adalah satu rezeki, saya rasa ini adalah rezeki daripada anak saya yang kedua.
I actually felt like I was floating.
We were screaming our lungs out. Our mom belum.
She was having fever masa tu. Datang juga, jerit juga.
Dia macam muka semua sudah kena kan. Saya pun macam tamu pergi sana tengok macam saya punya hati macam duduk itu besar. Saya tu tiket pun ada, saya tak ada pergi.
anak lelaki Rako Nabai.
Saya watch this video dah puluh kali lah. Saya tak ada kerja, saya duduk kat kedai minum, saya duduk, saya perhati.
Every effort word can't really describe. It's just amazing to prove to people that I can do it.
First Paralympic get the medal in the SEA Games. It's very proud.
Saya mengucapkan jutaan terima kasih kepada semua, kepada seluruh rakyat Malaysia. Terima kasih.
Terima kasih ke atas doa-doa semua. Tanpa anda semua, kita takkan berada kat sini, saya takkan berada kat sini. Thank you so much. We love you all.
Thanks everyone. Thank you so much for the support and cares.
Saya nak berterima kasih kepada coach, family dan semua warga negara Malaysia.
While I was fighting, I can hear how much cheer that you guys gave me. Every moment was priceless. So thank you so much. I really appreciate every single thing that you guys did for me. As they say, it takes a nation to raise a champion. Thank you.
Hi Malaysians, thank you for your support. As an athlete, we are happy that you were there when we complete our games. Rise together, bangkit bersama. Kita juara.
Terima kasih Malaysia. Terima kasih kerana terus menyokong dan mendoakan kejayaan saya. Ini adalah untuk kita semua. Malaysia boleh.
Hello Malaysians. Gold medal for you from me and everyone. Thank you very much for your support.
You guys are just really awesome. Thank you Malaysia. Thank you to you all.
Terima kasih Malaysia. Bangkit bersama.
Okay, terima kasih kepada rakyat Malaysia. Ini adalah untuk Malaysia. Kita juara.
Kepada wira dan wirawati timnas kontingen Malaysia, seluruh barisan atlet, pelatih dan pegawai, saya ucapkan tahniah dan terima kasih kepada anda semua. Anda semua telah membuktikan bahawa anda adalah wira dan wirawati negara kita yang telah membuktikan bahawa Malaysia dapat mengatasi segala-galanya demi kemenangan dan membuktikan kecemerlangan. Patah sayap bertongkat paruh namun menyerah tidak sekali. Itulah semangat timnas kita. Kepada rakyat Malaysia, terima kasih yang tak terhingga daripada saya dan seluruh kontingen Malaysia atas sokongan anda semua. Sokongan anda telah memberikan semangat kepada kontingen kita, kepada atlet kita untuk mencapai kecemerlangan yang luar biasa pada Sukan SEA kali ini. Apabila kita bermula Sukan SEA, kami sudah janji bahawa ini akan menjadi satu hadiah kepada negara, bahawa Malaysia akan muncul juara, dan Alhamdulillah kita muncul juara. Dan ini adalah hadiah istimewa kepada negara Malaysia sempena dengan Hari Merdeka yang ke-60 hanya kerana Malaysia. Negaraku!
Well, that was a wonderful tribute, and even if it was only from a Malaysian viewpoint, all nations would appreciate, all athletes from all nations would appreciate that it is about them on centre stage, but there are others who support them, the supporters out there and the parents, the families, and there's so much that is involved in someone achieving at the SEA Games. The flags are lowered here in Kuala Lumpur.
It's always a solemn moment when we fold the flags away to be taken out again in 2 years' time. in the next edition of the Games, the 30th edition, that will be held in the Philippines. It was only confirmed just as the Games were about to start that the Philippines were going to host the next edition of the Games. But we're glad of that, aren't we? We're looking forward to go back to the
I
Philippines.
thought it was one of the high points of the Games, really. That news was so positive when there was such doubt about where the next
And now, ladies and gentlemen, the SEA Games Federation flag handover ceremony. The Minister of Youth and Sports Malaysia and Chairman of the Malaysian Organizing Committee, Khairi Jamaluddin, will first pass the flag to the President of the Southeast Asian Games Federation and the Olympic Council of Malaysia, Yang Amat Mulia Tunku Tan Sri Imran Tuanku Jaafar. Tunku Tan Sri Imran will now hand over the flag to the Republic of the Philippines Olympic Committee President, Mr. Jose Coanco Jr. Mr. Coanco Jr. will now pass it on to the Secretary of Foreign Affairs and Chairman of the 30th Southeast Asian Games Organizing Committee, His Excellency Al Peter Cayetano. From Malaysia to Philippines, the symbolic handover of the official SEA Games flag across the Philippines as the hosts of the 30th Southeast Asian Games in 2019.
Dari Malaysia ke
The last
Filipina,
time the
penyerahan
Philippines
bendera
hosted
rasmi
the Games was in
Sultan Sea
2005.
meraihkan Filipina
They'd hosted it
sebagai tuan
in
rumah
total 3 times
Sultan
prior to the 2019 edition of the Games in 1981, 1991 and 2005. We look forward to making our way back to the Philippines.
Ladies and gentlemen, kindly rise for the national anthem of the Philippines and for the raising of the flag of the Philippines.
Hadirin sekalian diminta berdiri bagi menghormati lagu kebangsaan Filipina dan juga upacara menaikkan bendera negara Filipina.
Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated.
Hadirin sekalian dipersilakan duduk.
forward to going to the Philippines.
All the way through to the present time, celebrating the music of the past 6 decades. Tonight, we present a list of Malaysian hits that are selected based on its universal appeal across all cultures. Malaysia's brightest stars are all here tonight to pay tribute to you, our esteemed guests from the region, and to all Malaysians on this very historical landmark. Ladies and gentlemen, Soundtrack Negara.
And so Malaysia transitions from not just the celebration of the games, but also to the celebration of their national day. Merdeka is tomorrow, and the Malaysians will be continuing that party spirit. All the athletes are going to continue their party here in the National Stadium, but it is with that that the 29th edition of the Southeast Asian Games has come to a close. 1,334 medals have been awarded to some of the most sensational sporting stars from across the region. They'll now go back, recuperate and start their journey towards the 30th Games happening in 2 years' time. So, until 2019, that's it from John Macbeth and myself, Kelly Latimer. We'll see you in the Philippines. Good night.